Welcome to the Mentor Podcast, where the most highly motivated entrepreneurs come to get their weekly dose of financial stability with host Ron LeGrand, as well as other nationally recognized thought leaders who will teach you how to get, grow, and protect your wealth.
Well, hello there, my friend. This is Ron LeGrand bringing you another episode of the Mentor Podcast. It's dedicated to helping you make more money and making it quicker and retiring with a lot more of it. Today's message, in the second in the series of my business management messages, is called What's Wrong with Work? So we're going to have a serious discussion about that, and I'm probably going to give you some conflicting opinion based on the things you've been hearing all your life, but that's okay. So let me get started right now and tell you very quickly that I have no problem with work. And, well, in fact, I'll come back and tell you exactly what work means to me. Conventional wisdom will tell you that work is something to avoid whenever possible. It's only what you do because you have to, but only enough to get by, and that's pretty much what most Americans do. And that's why if you live by conventional wisdom, which that is, then you're probably going to die broke. So there's nothing wrong with work. In fact, it keeps you excited. And if it's exciting work, you want to keep doing it. If it's not, of course, you might want to change what you do. Because in my opinion, you got to keep your mind busy. But I guess even more importantly, you got to be accomplishing something. You got to have a purpose. You got to have a reason to live. You got to have a mission. And people without a mission are just wandering around, wondering what's next and waiting to die. And by the way, that's one big reason with retirement that I see so much. I'll try to come back to that as well. So, what work cuts down to boredom. And frankly, I don't know what I would be doing if I wasn't working. And it's an absolute requirement to achieve wealth. You, my friend, you just ain't going to get rich without it. So I guess you could buy lottery tickets, but even that's work. You got to walk into the store and buy the tickets. So, okay, all right. I'm being facetious. So I promise you that the people around you are going to criticize you for working too much. They're going to call you a workaholic. I'm called a workaholic quite frequently. Started for quite a few years by my wife, Beverly, which I've been married to now for 53 years. And today she doesn't bother me because she knows she's wasting her breath. Because the truth is, I can't stand the thought of getting out of bed in the morning and not having anything to do. Now, when you get to a point in your life where your cash flow needs are taken care of, I wish that for you. But I'll bet you that if you have an entrepreneurial spirit, that you will find something to do because boredom just ain't going to work. In fact, I think about business. That's what I think about. I think about business all the time because I want to think about business. It's what drives me. And, your spouses probably won't agree with that. And I can understand that. They need some of your time as well. And of course, I'm not telling you that I don't give my time to family. I do. But I can tell you when the money's rolling in, they bug you a lot less. I can tell you that for sure, especially if it directly affects them and they could worry about how much you work. So, I've had all the big houses and I've had the cars and I've had 7 airplanes and 4 of them were jets. And I can tell you right now that none of that happened without work. And it doesn't happen because you're just in the right place at the right time. You get lucky. It happens because every single day you did something to get to the point to where you could have those things or do what you want in life. And super achievers are always working. I mean, that doesn't mean they're working physically, but they're certainly working mentally. I'm telling you right now, my days of working up a sweat are over, but my days of working will never be over. When I check into the nursing home, I'm going to have a personal assistant in case when I come to my senses, then I'll tell her what we need to do. But I am always going to be working. And I do. Look, I got to be honest with you. Sometimes I don't even tell my wife that I'm working. She may probably think that I am, but look, I don't make a big deal out of it. I'm just going to work. And nobody's going to talk me out of working, and I'm not ashamed of it. Because frankly, it drives me. It's what I want to do. It's when I get out of bed in the morning, I want to work. Again, it ain't physical labor. I'm over that. Been there, done that, done all that I need to do. And believe me, in my life, I've done plenty of it. But I don't want you to be ashamed because people think you work too much. Good. I hope they think you work too much while they're wasting their life doing nothing, trying to get out of work. You got nothing to apologize for. Besides, who are you apologizing to? Broke people? Broke people who've been conditioned to believe work is bad. And frankly, I think that the further we go in our generational gaps here, the worse that gets. So what do you care what they think? The trick is to work because you want to most of the time, and not because you have to, but because you want to, because you like what you're doing, and not vice versa. I don't want anybody working because they have to. I want them working because they want to, and then pretty soon they won't have to. So people ask me all the time, why do you keep teaching? Why are you out here personally? You could send a clone out here. And the answer is I could. That is, if they could clone me. I don't believe they can, but they probably can. I'm just kidding. They have in the past. There's really nothing that I do that can't be replaced. But look, then what? Suppose I don't work. I play golf. Well, I've played golf. And the problem is I can't see where that ball lands, so I miss all those beautiful shots I hit. So, golf kind of faded away. I'm not interested in that. It's just not fun anymore. Kill fish. Oh, I kill my share of fish. Don't worry about that. I go to Alaska every single year and kill fish and try to take a couple of fishing trips in the meantime, but there's only so much killing fish you can do. Oh, I know. We'll travel. Oh, kidding me. I spend half my life on the road now teaching. And even then, make no mistake, we still get our share of fun travel in. I take a couple of cruises every year, and I go to Alaska every year. And we do. I got an RV. We go camping 5 or 6 times a year. In fact, I'm even a member of an RV park right now. Don't tell anybody. Okay, well, I don't know what these things people want to do. Go lay on the beach? Oh, my goodness gracious. I live in Jacksonville, Florida. I was raised at Jacksonville Beach, Florida. The last thing I want to do on a planet is lay out in the sun and get baked and burnt by the sun on purpose. When I was raised up as a kid, I couldn't imagine why people would come down and want to do that. I'm looking for more shade, not more sun. So all these things that people want to do to occupy their time, they just don't excite me. I just like working. And I get bored very easily, which is a personality trait that I'm proud of. In fact, I don't have any patience. I think patience is a liability, not a virtue. And I always want to be doing something to achieve and to create, or I don't feel useful and I just don't feel fulfilled. So don't you think for a minute that you have to apologize to anybody for working. Now, look, I'll be the first to tell you that everyone can't achieve a quantum leap success for several reasons. Number one, you have to really want it, because if you don't really want it, you won't get it. And it won't be long before you'll find the excuse not to do whatever it is you need to do to get where you want to go. And you got to burn the ships behind you and be willing to die on your sword. I'm going to make this work, or I'm going to die on my sword. You got to make a commitment, in other words. And that requires work, but the right work, not just labor. And if you're going to succeed, your self-esteem has got to be high enough to allow you to, and you got to keep moving forward. Start with low self-esteem, you got to work on getting it higher. And I can tell you that really the only way you're going to get your self-esteem up is to have a series of small successes, which will lead to greater and greater successes. But we got to get out there and start working, doing the right things to get those successes coming. And you're going to have to push through a whole world of minutia and crap, and fight for enough time in every day to move your plan forward. And frankly, that's a subject we're going to be talking about coming up here shortly on my next podcast. So you got to set minutia aside. You got to learn how to manage your time so that you can do the right work, the productive work that only the entrepreneur should be doing. And of course, you got to quit listening to broke people, because they always have an opinion, and it's usually worth pretty much what it costs. And my friends, broke people are not qualified to teach you how to be rich. And in fact, broke people might tell you that they like to work, but I see no evidence of it. I can tell you that. So I work because it is what I do. And then on the other hand, I stay focused on what I should be focused on. So make a note here. It is your job to focus as the leader, as the owner of a business, on revenue, not cost control. If you're focusing on cost control, you're worrying about the wrong things. You're pinching pennies and losing the dollars. If you focus on revenue, pretty soon the cost control won't matter. Now, I am not saying you have to ignore it, but I am saying you better worry more about what's coming in than what's going out. And so one of your jobs as an entrepreneur is to stay focused on the revenue, because I can promise you, if you don't, there's probably nobody in your organization that cares more. And it really doesn't make any difference what business you're in, what product or service you sell. So what kind of work do I do? Well, I make decisions, which I think ought to be your main goal in life. Make decisions. When you can get your business to the point to where that's all you have to do, you'll find that you have plenty of time to do the things you couldn't be able to do. And you're not going to be able to only make decisions unless you free yourself up from all the other crap that sucks up your entire day. More on that later. Now, look, I'll confess that when I'm supposed to be playing, I'm also working. For example, I go on a couple of cruises a year, and there was a time way back when Beverly said, I want you to leave that briefcase at home. And I promptly replied to her, if the briefcase stays, I stay. There is no way I'm going to get trapped on a ship for multiple days and not be able to work. There's plenty for me to do. There's always something to do. And if there isn't, find something to do. Write a book. Do the things that you've never done before because you were so busy making a living you couldn't take any time to do the things you want to do. Several times a year, well, at least a couple of times a year, Beverly gets me to go on a casino somewhere. Usually I'm working there doing some kind of an event, and she's in there doing her business, which is video poker. And of course, she's learned a long time ago, you are never going to get me trapped into a casino watching you stick money in that machine unless I'm working. So I'm up in my room doing stuff. She's down there feeding the casino. When I'm on an airplane, I'm working. You know, most people are just sitting there riding or chatting or trying to sleep. I can't sleep on airplanes, but man, do I get a lot of stuff done on them. I don't have any interruptions. If somebody beside me starts talking, I shut them down pretty quick. And, you know, it gives me plenty of time to focus on my work. And I get so much done on airplanes. Now, I grant you, I could turn on the TV and watch that. You know, I fly Delta a lot. They have TVs in the back of the seat, especially when you're flying first class. But, you know, I rarely even turn that thing on because there's always so much to do. I can either be writing or reading. And even when I go camping in my RV, you can rest assured my briefcase goes with me because that gives me plenty of time to actually do whatever work is on my plate at that time. I teach, I create, I write, and I watch cash flow, and I create chaos. So that's what I do. That's my job. I'm the chief chaos officer of both my restaurant and Global Publishing. When I get up in the morning, I have breakfast, and then I go to work at my desk at my house. And I work all day until I sit down to watch TV at night. Now, look, again, it's not hard labor, and it's some kind of work relating to one of my businesses. And it's usually, again, writing or reading. And but the writing and reading I do creates revenue. So that's what I do. Either that or I'm in a meeting or I'm on the road teaching. But I work from 8 o'clock in the morning when I get up till about 9 o'clock at night when I sit down to watch TV. And once I watch TV, it is done. I'm through working for the day. And by the way, I use I don't watch TV unless it is recorded on the DVR, because I discovered you save 20 minutes for every 1 hour show by getting rid of the commercials. And plus, I don't have to worry about when they come on. I just program them in, and they're there when I come back or when I'm ready to watch them. So, by the way, there's a big difference between work and minutia. Work is what you should be doing. Minutia is what you should not be doing. Again, your job is to make decisions until you can assign that job. At Global Publishing, I make very few decisions. There's a great team there making them for me. At my restaurant, I make almost no decisions. That's why you hire a general manager, for them to make the decisions. If they want me to help them, I help them. Generally, I don't even get involved until they bring me in. Every once in a while, though, I'll interfere and create some chaos and get my 2 cents worth in. But generally, my job is to watch the revenue, focus on increasing it, and create what I want to create, teach where I'm needed, And of course, at the restaurant, I'm the chief quality control tester because Beverly and I eat there several times a week. When you come to Jacksonville, you'll be eating at Iggy's Grill and Bar as well because you have no choice. I'll be taking you there. And then you'll get to see Iggy's. And listen, don't you let any SOB tell you that work is evil. Work is not evil. Work is required to succeed in life. And if you want to make a lot more money than everyone else, it does not mean you have to work more hours. It does mean you have to work smarter, which isn't that difficult, than everybody else. If you focus on the things that you should focus on as a leader of your business, you'll find things will fall in place a lot faster than if you get trapped into the day-to-day minutia. You know, you got to have systems to get out of minutia, because without systems, you're always going to be in minutia. So what are you going to do to get rid of the minutia? Well, first, you're going to have to learn the art of delegation. That means you got to sit down sometime and write down everything you do, and then quickly figure out, who am I going to delegate this to? Now, if you're in the real estate investment business, one of our customers, then obviously we have virtual assistants to take most of that load off of you. If you're not, and you have a staff like my restaurant, my general manager shouldn't be doing anything but assigning tasks and thinking. I wish I could get him convinced of that, because he does way too much minutia, and stuff doesn't get done as fast as it should be done because he just hasn't mastered the art of delegation yet. I'll tell you, I have. As soon as some job hits my back, if it's something that I don't absolutely have to do, and that's very little, I'm going to immediately delegate it and then follow up and see if that job got done by who I delegated it to. Frankly, if you just acquire that habit, you'll find minutia will gradually make its way out of your life. Cannot fix minutia without delegation. So again, figure out who is going to do this stuff. Now, you can write this down. I know you're not going to like this and you're not going to believe it, but get something to write with. I'll let you think about it. It'll hit you about 3 o'clock in the morning. Are you ready? Here you go. There is not one thing you do in your business that someone else can't do for you. I'm going to say that again. There's not one thing you do in your business that someone else can't do for you. All right, I know, get over it. You'll come to grips with it sooner or later, because I used to believe that wasn't true either. Today, I really don't want to do anything. And I really don't want to do anything except what I choose to do. So I'm a master delegator. I got greasy shoulders. So if a monkey lands on my back, he's going to fall off and go to somebody else's very, very quickly. So again, you want to make money? You got to work, but let's make sure it's the right work. Don't get caught up in that minutia trap and try to get out of it as fast as you can. I work almost all the time. I work on holidays. I work on trips. It doesn't make a bit of difference to me. I work because I want to work, and I don't need anyone's permission to do it. I'm done working for today, so I think I'm going to go home and relax. No, that's a lie. I'm not done working for today. Even when I go home, I'll be working until it's time to watch TV. Okay. So listen, if you are interested in this subject and many others in the art of running a business, you should get to my business management boot camp. It's a 3-day event that I personally teach here in Jacksonville, which is the home of Iggy's Grill and Bar. And right now, if you were to actually call 800-567-6128, and if you'll talk to Beth, then you tell her you listen to this podcast, she'll give you a $500 discount on business management. And guess what? You get to bring somebody free at no charge. So it's a 3-day event. I teach it. It's here in Jacksonville, Florida. And by the way, if you're a Gold Club member, you get to use Gold Club points for up to half of the total balance that you owe, which really isn't all that much. So check it out. And if you need more information on it, you can go to the Mentor Podcast /Biz Management, BIZMGT, BIZMGT. And it'll tell you about the event, but don't register online now. It'll cost you more. Call 800-567-6128 and talk to Beth and tell her I sent you and you listen to this podcast. So now get off my podcast and go to work. See you next week.
That's all for this edition of the Mentor Podcast. To connect with Ron and learn how you can attain financial freedom, as well as up-to-date strategies to grow and protect your wealth based on today's discussion, go to www.connectwiththementor.com.